All right, so this is for the physics assignment. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an object. So we're going to create a box with the press of an E button. Right now the gravity is, as shown up here, negative 9.81, so it just falls as it would. We can also create a sphere with the click of the button Q. So we can change the gravity of these objects. So if I wanted them to float, I can make this a positive Z and set the new gravity. And then it works in the other directions as well if I wanted to. As you can see, X, Y, and Z all change the objects. I'm going to set those back to 0. One of the other things that I added was a change in the static friction, kinetic friction, restitution, and the mass of the next object you're going to create. So if I want an object to barely move, I'll set the static friction and the kinetic friction really high, and then I'll set the restitution to none. So if I move off to the side, I can make a stack of cubes that'll hardly move with each other. And I can do the same with spheres. With spheres, they'll still roll off each other, but because it's the shape, and since you make it inside of it and they're quite large, it'll bounce off of each other. It'll come back down eventually. The thing with the mass is since the force is based off of the mass, it'll follow the F equals ma type of equation for a lot of its collisions. So if I make the mass quite low, that ball will move a lot higher in the sky than the other one did. And if I want to make the ball bounce here, I just have to make the restitution a higher value. And let's put this kinetic back. Oops, wrong button. And see, all of those objects bounce a lot more than they did when the restitution was a lot lower and the kinetic and static friction were changed. The last thing that I added was the scaling for both the box object that you want to create next and the sphere. So if we want to change the scale for the box, let's say I want to make it a larger X, the X changes and the bounding box is still around that same visual shape. So if I wanted to go back down and then change the Y, I can do that too. Also, as a side note, since I have the restitution right now as 1, it's always just going to keep on bouncing. So for the future ones, let's put it at 0.5. The sphere works in a similar way where there's only one scale because the sphere is the same on each of the directions from the center. So let's make it 0.25. And then we make a smaller sphere. I have basic force applications. So if I hit the R key, I can cause a force just in front of me. And it'll move the objects in front of me. I have selection query, which it does the same type of thing, but with a specific object that you pick. And with the B button, and things like that. All right.